Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cherry the Geek TV. I'm Joe Vanourney. Today we are speaking with Brian Van Holt, who stars alongside Mel Gibson and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson in a new serial killer thriller called Boneyard from Lionsgate Films. It's available this week on video on demand and arrives in theaters July 5th. Brian, thanks so much for chatting with us today on Cherry the Geek TV.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
Let's start off by talking about Boneyard in general. Give viewers kind of the Cliff Notes version of what Boneyard's about.
Uh, yeah, the Cliff Notes. It's a it's like a good old crime thriller, murder mystery that was inspired by uh true events and true cases based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's loosely inspired by the West Mesa Murders, where there was a boneyard, a cemetery was uncovered with 11 uh, women and one unborn child, and so they discovered like they discovered a serial killer was in amongst us, and the film stars Mel Gibson and 50 Cent and myself, the three with along with others, and we're basically trying to hunt down a serial killer, and there's lots of twists and turns, which I wish I could reveal more about. I'm being very careful with my words because there's a lot of I don't want to spoil anything for you and for the audience because I want you guys to go see it. Um, but that's in a nutshell. It's us about we're trying to hunt down a serial killer, and there's a lot of good performances. It's a very well written script, and it's just a really good film. It's a good entertainment.
So you play Detective Ortega in the film. Who is he? How does he fit into the story? And what qualities and characteristics about Detective Ortega did you that what appealed to you and attracted you to this character?
This, well, playing an Irish Mexican cop is check that off the list. But, um, well, it's funny because this comes full circle, and I know we don't have much time, so I'll be quick. But I knew about this story about the West Mesa murders, and again, it's not like a documentary about that exact case or those victims and their families, but it was inspired by it. I shot a TV show in Albuquerque, and something came up on the news about this case and about this about all these missing persons and the serial killer, and um, that story intrigued me. Also, I fell in love with Albuquerque in New Mexico. And then I saw like a thing on Dateline or 2020 about this specific case. And I kind of became obsessed with it. And cut to three years later, a person that I met, shooting deputy, the writer of this film, Vincent McDaniel, was working craft service on our show. And he said, "Hey, man, we got to know each other. He's like, this isn't what I do. I'm a writer and making movies, and we're gonna make a film together one day." And it comes full circle. So when I this came to me and I knew he was involved and it was his script and that story, it was an immediate yes. I love playing detectives. I come from a family, or cops in general. I come from a family full of cops, and I've been fortunate enough to work on a lot of projects. So I'm always interested in that world. Because I'm uh, connected to it somehow. I'm pretty familiar with it. So it's and in his character personally, he had a lot of demons that he had to try to um heal, I'll say, and a lot of through this film, and hopefully you can get it, but he's trying to trying to heal from something that he did in his past, and he's trying to redeem himself and trying to solve this case. It's really personal for him, and I wish I could tell you why, but it'll ruin a plot twist. But um, it's really personal for this character, and he had a lot invested in this. And that, as an actor, my dog's scratching on the door. Sorry. As an actor, that's interesting to me. He has a lot of layers, and he's a complex character who's like has his own kind of struggle with his human condition, and it was just layered, and it was a rich character, and I had a good time playing him.
I was going to ask you about my next question was going to be, did you do research on the role? You already answered that, and I was going to ask you, how did you prep for the role? But it sounds like that you have that cop background with cop relatives. I was going to say, did you do any research with
Yeah,
detectives? But it sounds like that's kind of
I
been part of your life.
I spent a lot of time with actually the Albuquerque Police Department when I was shooting deputy. I lived in Albuquerque for 8 months, and I got to be connected with these guys, and I have a couple good friends that are homicide detectives here in LA, and my uncle was a detective. So my research was I gained 20 pounds, I shaved my head and dyed my hair red.
Your
I
character in
shaved
the
my face for the first time probably in, I don't know, 2 years.
yeah, you're unrecognizable with the shaved face. Your character in this film's super intense. There's a lot of super intense scenes. The subject's very intense. When you're working on something with this subject matter and doing these intense scenes, do you ever take that home with you? Is it easier? Is it easy to break off from that and compartmentalize that, or does that kind of go home with you sometimes?
I have to say, I've been doing this for so long, and I'd like to say that I was able to leave everything on the set, leave everything, everything that belongs at home, keep it at home, and everything on the set stays on the set. But you can't help but get, I don't know, emotionally attached to things and just carry it around with you. Um, um, Especially when you're dealing with, subjects and stories that are pretty intense. Um, so, no, I'll say it's not easy for me to just shake off, those emotions or that intense feeling. So, you can't help but carry it around. And yeah, that's it.
You star alongside this film with Mel Gibson and Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, two big players in the Hollywood movie scene. Talk about your experience of working with Mel and Curtis.
I'll start with Curtis 50. 50, this is the second film I've done with 50, and I love him. We did Den of Thieves together too. Didn't get a chance to work that much, too many scenes, but 50 is so funny. I want him to do a comedy next, and I want to do a two-hander with 50 because he's the exact opposite of what you would. Well, I don't know what you think. I don't want to predict or make assumptions, but with the nicest, charming, funny, really witty, funny guy. I love him. And Mel the same way. I mean, I've been a big fan of Mel for my whole life. Somebody I always looked up to, and he was inspiring, and it was surreal and exciting for me to be sharing the screen with Mel Gibson. We got to Asif and our producers and our writers let us tweak a lot of the dialogue and even rewrite some stuff. And so I got to write a couple like scenes with Mel Gibson, and I thought I had a couple moments where I had to check myself. I'm in this room writing scenes and creating with Mel Gibson. This is awesome. But I love working with him. He's serious. He's a serious actor. He showed up. And I would love to work with him again.
I'm curious, are there any serial killer, thriller, cop films, cop or detective characters that influenced you along the way? What are some of your favorites? Did any of those influence and inspire your portrayal of Detective Ortega?
Oh, no characters. I try to do my work, my research, my choices based on not actors, real people, like or not characters in a play, but trying to think of and film wise, but no, I just I try to use real characters, and there is one a detective that I did use, um, but I can't say his name. So, so
Um, I'm going to jump off topic here for just a sec while I've got you here. I want to talk to you for a bit about television. Every year in May, when the networks cancel shows, I always pick the show that I say this is the one that got canceled way too soon, whether it's a Firefly or a Freaks and Geeks. You starred in one such show. You've already mentioned it. 2020, the show called Deputy, starred Stephen Dorff and yourself. Man, what a gem of a show that was. Talk about your experiences working on Deputy and what's it like working on a project like that that's such high quality and yet for whatever reason, scheduling or whatever, just fails to connect to an audience. And what was that experience like?
well, first of all, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Was heartbreaking. I was very fond of that show. Uh, my castmates, everybody. And so that was heartbreaking. I thought that we worked hard on that to make it what it was, and we were all disappointed that it got canceled. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making that TV show. Love working with Stephen. And David Ayer was our producer and directed the first two episodes. And I loved it. I was really shocked and surprised that Fox canceled it. So, you know, I would love to, that would be great to revisit, but yeah, it was hard. My wife and I fell in love with, we shot that in Albuquerque, like we said. We just fell in love with Albuquerque and New Mexico, the people, the culture. Um, and then again, yeah, that was hard. We really worked hard on that show, try to give, the best quality that we could do. And I thought everybody stepped up. And for network television, I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a
So that was
wonderful
heartbreaking.
show. Let's
Thank
give
you.
Deputy some love. It's available to purchase online. If people haven't seen it, go check that out. It's a wonderful show. And you can also see Brian in Boneyard. Comes to video on demand July 2nd and in theaters July 5th. Brian, thanks so much for chatting with us today on Cherry the
I,
Geek TV.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Approximately 6 weeks ago, one of our concerned citizens came across human remains while walking our dog. We discovered the remains of 11 women and one unborn child.
We never faced anything like this. They're sending in an expert.
Chief Carter, I presume.
Hope you had a good flight, Agent Petrovick.
I read your file. You've been looking for the boogeyman. Instead, focus on the regular guy just hiding in plain sight. We put serial killers into 4 categories. First, you got your visionary. They hear voices, Next, we got hedonistic. These are lust killers. After that, the power control-oriented. But I don't think our guy is any of those. He's a mission-oriented killer. He thinks he's making the world a better place.
Hang on. You looking for a good time?
What do you say? You want to do this thing?
Oh, you know I do.
You telling me the serial killer can be an undercover cop?
So it could be anyone. When I looked into his eyes were dead.
He's playing God. No one can get through life without pain. My pain is deep, but it gives me purpose.
We got a predator amongst us.
The papers gave him a name.
The bone collector.